Today I have the pleasure of speaking with InvestorIntel's top global analyst, Christopher Ecclestone. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
Christopher, you've written so many interesting things lately, but I want to start with one of my favorite topics. You're going to be launching InvestorIntel's German site in August. So I'd like to start with why Germany? Why are we moving into Germany?
Traditionally it's been thought that the major market for mining in Europe was, of course, the London market. The London market does have a big sort of uh, purview over all global mining, but the Germans have shown themselves to be more interested in small miners over the years, more, particularly over the last 10 years, more open to experimenting in what they invest in, and less, in some ways, parochial than the London market. So the German force in mining became big pre-2008, suffered a pullback after that, but now it's showing signs of a very strong recovery. And so that is a good reason why Canadian and Australian miners should be looking towards the German market to get themselves out of the doldrums that they find in their own domestic home markets.
I think you wrote an article we published this week about how you've seen with some companies that they've actually increased their volume and liquidity as a result of being listed in Germany. Would you like to talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's quite interesting that there's not actually much of a relationship between what the companies do in Germany up until now and the type of effect that they're having in the German market, because many foreign miners have taken their eyes off that market, but a recovery has taken place. Somehow the Germans are getting information, or they're operating without information, and they're diving back into some of the names that have been long quiescent in the global mining markets, and seeing some quite interesting patterns there. Particularly the Germans are attracted to big gold, but also to specialty metals. They don't seem to be doing much in base metals, not doing much in silver or uranium or things like that, but definitely the industrial, technical, specialty metals seem to be grabbing their attention.
Okay, well, my personal interest, of course, in going into Germany is all of the self-directed investors, and of course, with what happened in just before the holidays, with Germans being unable to invest in the OTC, for instance, have them looking for more interesting opportunities in emerging markets. So this is one of the reasons why I see us being there. Speaking of the German market, you also did a very interesting piece on the German Resource Alliance, and I've been receiving a lot of emails. So, how about you answer these emails for me, Christopher? What is the
Okay.
German Resource Alliance, and why should we care?
The German Resource Alliance is primarily a private sector initiative, and it has some of the largest companies in the German, I guess, industrial sphere. The type of companies like ThyssenKrupp, etc., and the big chemical companies have banded together. Really, I suspect as a reaction to the scarcity of new sources of specialty metals, which makes the German producers as vulnerable, if not more vulnerable, to Chinese manipulation of the metal prices. And more than just the prices, it's actually access to these metals. When tensions rise, as we saw a few years ago in rare earths, and it's rising again, the Chinese can cut off supply, and then industrial companies in Europe are like the first line victims of a squeeze on supply coming out of China. So they've banded together with some government support, but it's not a project that's being driven by government in any means, but government support basically of interested parties in the German industrial sphere to promote realistic mining projects that look like they're going to get into operation, primarily in Europe, but then, looking a bit beyond Europe as well. So that German industrialists have a supply of technology metals for the future.
Well, one more question for you, please. I would like you just to comment on the zombie apocalypse piece that you did because, of course, we have had a lot of debate on this. Is there any update that you have, or can you just sum up your conclusion on what's happening with the TSX Venture for us?
The TSX Venture is like very much an orphan market for the TSX. With mining stocks being in the doldrums and financing's not being particularly strong, particularly amongst the largest market miners, it means that the big banks that now own the TSX have very little sort of interest in the mining sector. They're making their money out of other business elements in the exchange, other sectors, and it's almost like couldn't care less, leave it to recover on its own, on its own time, and if that doesn't happen, well, sort of bad luck. I think that that's a very short-sighted view, and really the markets need to find themselves a new champion, because definitely the TSX is not interested. TSXV has been allowed to languish, and I think what we're seeing in Germany is actually that the German markets can become the tail that wags the dog of the sort of abandoned Canadian venture exchange, and frankly, the TSX could wake up in 4 or 5 years from now and find that there's more volume being done in Germany than there is in Vancouver.
Okay, well, there's a profound summary. Christopher, as always, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm so happy you're going to be championing the InvestorIntel launch into Germany. Thank you.
Thank you.